You ever notice how sometimes she just lives in your head? Like no matter how much you try, she's there in your mornings, in your nights, even in moments you're supposed to be present. She's sitting quietly in the back of your mind. You start wondering, what does this mean? Why can't I stop thinking about her? Most men call it love. Some say it's destiny. But the truth, it's neither. When you find it hard to get a woman out of your mind, it's not about her. It's about something within you that's trying to tell you a truth you've been ignoring. Let's talk about it. 1, the silent signal you keep missing. You know that feeling when she's everywhere. You're brushing your teeth and suddenly you see her face in the mirror. You're walking to work and her voice plays in your mind like an echo that won't fade. It's exhausting. You start thinking this means something, that the universe is giving you a sign that she's special, rare, meant for you. But here's the truth most men never see. When you can't stop thinking about a woman, it's not because she's the one. It's because she's triggering something deeper inside you, something you haven't faced. Your mind isn't replaying her because of love. It's replaying her because she filled a gap. For a short while, she gave you something your soul was missing. Validation, excitement, maybe even peace. She made you feel seen, and that feeling, not her, is what your mind keeps chasing. It's like chasing a reflection. You think you're reaching her, but really you're reaching a feeling you once had when she was around. You scroll through her old texts, overanalyzing every emoji. You reread your conversations, searching for some hidden meaning. You check her stories just to feel close. That's not connection. That's your brain trying to hold on to the last time you felt important. Here's the part that stings. When you can't get her out of your head, it's not about love at all. It's about loss. Not the loss of her, but the loss of yourself in her. You handed her the power to make you feel valuable. And now that she's gone, you're trying to get it back through memory. You keep telling yourself she's different, but what's really different is how empty you feel without her. And that's not romance. That's dependency wearing a disguise. So when your mind won't stop thinking about her, stop asking, what does this mean about us? Instead ask, what does this mean about me? Because that's where the real answer lies. Your obsession isn't about her staying in your mind. It's about something you left behind inside her presence. That constant mental replay is your soul whispering, come back to yourself too. The psychology of obsession, let's get real. When you can't stop thinking about her, your brain is addicted. And I mean that literally. The same brain circuits that fire when you crave sugar, cigarettes, or alcohol. They light up when you crave her attention. Every time she texted you, every time she smiled, your brain released dopamine. It's that feel-good chemical that tells you, hey, this feels amazing. Let's do it again. But then suddenly it stops. The texts slow down. The attention fades. The calls become rare. And what happens? Your dopamine drops, and that crash, and that's what you mistake for heartbreak. You start craving her like a drug. You check your phone 100 times, scroll her page like you're trying to read her silence, replay conversations until they sound different. That's not romance. That's withdrawal. The cruel trick here is that the more you chase, the more your brain rewards the chase itself. It keeps saying, almost there. Just one more message, just one more chance, but there's no there. It's an endless cycle. She becomes the fix for a chemical imbalance you didn't even know you created. That's why men stuck in obsession lose logic. You start telling yourself stories that sound noble, but are rooted in desperation. She's the one. She completes me. I just want closure. No, you don't want closure. You want a hit. You want that rush of being wanted again. Real love doesn't feel like anxiety. It doesn't make you check your phone every 5 minutes. Real love feels like calm. But obsession, it hijacks your peace. And this is where psychology hits hard. The more uncertain her availability, the stronger your attraction becomes. It's called intermittent reinforcement. You get attention sometimes, not all the time. And that unpredictability keeps you hooked like a gambler waiting for the next win. So when you say, I can't stop thinking about her, what you're really saying is, I've built a pattern. My mind doesn't know how to quit, but you can. The first step is awareness. The second, discipline. Break the loop. Starve the addiction, because once you realize you are never craving her, just the feeling she gave you, you start taking your power back, and that's when the healing begins. 3, the scarcity trap that keeps you stuck. You ever notice how you don't obsess over every person you meet, only the one you can't have? That's not a coincidence. That's scarcity. See, when something feels rare, your mind inflates its value. You start thinking, if I lose this, I'll never find it again. That thought alone is enough to create obsession. This is where most men trap themselves. They put one woman on a pedestal and tell themselves she's different. She's not. She's just the only one you allowed yourself to want. And when there's only one option, your brain clings to it like oxygen. It's basic psychology. Scarcity equals obsession. When you think you have limited options, your brain starts protecting the one you do have. It becomes survival mode. You fixate, you chase, you overthink. And that intensity doesn't come from love. It comes from fear. The fear of losing what you think is irreplaceable. But here's what you don't see. The moment you make someone your only, you lose all your emotional leverage. She feels it. Women always do. She senses the imbalance. You start texting first, waiting longer, giving more, asking for less. You start losing pieces of your masculine energy, your presence, your self-focus, your calm. And she feels that too. Scarcity isn't just about numbers. It's about mindset. You could have 10 women around you, but if your heart is desperate for one, you're still living in lack. That's why abundance isn't about dating more. It's about needing less. When a man believes he has options, not just with women, but in life, his energy changes. He becomes grounded, not grasping. He moves with certainty, not desperation. He becomes magnetic, not because he's chasing, but because he's choosing. So when you can't stop thinking about her, remember, it's not because she's rare. It's because you've convinced yourself that she is. You've made her your finish line when she was supposed to be part of the journey. And the second you shift from I need her to I choose me, everything starts to shift, because nothing's more attractive than a man who isn't afraid to lose anyone. 4, when you lose yourself trying to win her, there's a quiet moment in every man's story where he realizes he's not chasing love anymore. He's chasing approval. It starts small. You adjust your tone, your words, your hobbies just to seem more likable. Then one day you wake up and realize you've built your identity around someone else's perception. That's when you lose yourself. You stop showing up as you start showing up as who you think she wants you to be. You reply faster, you explain more, you apologize for things that weren't wrong. Slowly, you trade your authenticity for her comfort. And at first she might like it, but soon she'll feel something's off. Women can sense when a man's energy shifts from confident to compliant. That's the death of attraction. Because what drew her in wasn't your effort, it was your essence, the version of you that had a mission, a spark, a center. The moment that fades, she starts pulling back. Not to hurt you, but because instinctively she knows something sacred disappeared, the man who stood his ground. Here's the harsh truth. When your life starts revolving around her, she becomes your purpose. And no woman wants to be a man's purpose. She wants to join a man who already has one. When your mission fades, your power fades. You start asking, why did she lose interest? But the answer is simple, because you lost direction. Attraction isn't about looks, status, or words. It's about energy. It's about how grounded you are in yourself. And when that's gone, so is your mystery. So is your magnetism. Rebuilding that starts by cutting the need to be liked. You don't need her to approve you. You need to approve you. You need to remember who you were before you made her your focus. When you come back to that version of you, the focused, grounded, purpose-driven man, everything changes. You stop chasing. You start leading. That's the man she truly wants. And more importantly, that's the man you were always meant to be. 5, the freedom you don't know you're capable of. The moment you stop chasing her memory, something strange happens. You start breathing again. At first it feels empty, quiet, boring even, but that's not emptiness, that's peace. You're just not used to it yet. See, when your mind's been addicted to chaos, peace feels unfamiliar, but stay in that silence long enough and you'll hear something powerful. The voice you forgot existed. Your own. When you stop thinking about her every second, life starts expanding. You start sleeping better, smiling more, working with more focus. You start realizing your attention was your most expensive currency and you've been spending it all on someone who already walked away. That's freedom. Not the kind where you stop caring, but the kind where you start choosing where your energy goes. And here's the crazy part. When you finally detach, she might notice, she might text, she might ask how you've been. But by then, you'll see it differently. You'll realize it was never about her noticing you. It was about you noticing yourself again. You'll look at her message and smile, not out of pride, but peace. Because for the first time, you don't need to respond. You're no longer reacting. You're deciding. That's real control. Freedom isn't about forgetting her name. It's about remembering yours. And when you live in that energy, something magnetic happens. You start drawing in new people, new experiences, new love, not because you're searching, but because you're glowing differently. You've stopped leaking energy. And that shift, that quiet, confident energy, that's what women truly feel. So when your mind starts whispering her name again, smile. It's just memory talking. But you've moved on. You've built something stronger. Yourself. 6. Your wake-up call. If she's still running through your mind, that's not punishment. It's a message. It's life trying to tell you where you left yourself behind. Every thought of her is an invitation to return home, back to your power. When you can't stop thinking about a woman, it indicates one thing. You've made her your mirror. You see your worth through her eyes. That's why her silence hurts more than her words, because it forces you to face how much of your value was tied to being wanted. But here's what you need to understand. Nothing is missing. You were complete before she arrived, and you'll be complete long after she's gone. You just forgot this is your wake-up call to stop chasing love that costs you yourself. Because real love doesn't demand you shrink. It doesn't make you question your worth. It adds peace, not pain. You think letting go means losing her, but it doesn't. It means freeing yourself from a version of you that depended on her presence to feel alive. The man who's meant for peace, purpose, and power doesn't beg for attention. He attracts it. He doesn't chase validation. He creates it. When you finally stop obsessing, you'll notice the shift. You'll start walking taller. You'll start choosing your time more carefully. You'll stop explaining yourself to people who never cared to understand. And that's when you'll see it. She's not the loss. You were. You lost you for her. But now you found yourself again. That's what it indicates, my friend. Not love, not destiny, but transformation. So if she's still in your head, take a deep breath, say, thank you for the lesson, and walk away with peace. Because the moment you stop thinking about her, that's when she'll start thinking about you. But by then, you won't need her to. So if she's still running through your mind, take this as your moment to pause. Not to chase, not to fix, but to rebuild. Because when you finally choose yourself, not as a tactic, but as truth, you become the man every woman feels, but only one gets to keep. Comment below where you are in this journey, and if you're still stuck in the thoughts, breaking if you're learning to let go, or free if you've already reclaimed your peace. And remember, letting go isn't losing her, it's finding you.